welcome to Behind a Smile. I am Dr. Chantal Ambrose, and I am a dentist. I host a healthcare business podcast where I interview healthcare practitioners around the world, sharing tips on how to improve your healthcare practice, innovate, and grow while living your best life. We share products and information from healthcare partners that can help you in your practice journey, be it a startup, a family-based business, or a multidisciplinary healthcare team. Most of the information provided here is based on personal experience and opinions. So please supplement what you learn here with approved research studies and professional advice. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed, and I invite you to join our community if you haven't. We would love to hear from you. If you would like to be on the show, drop me a mail at behindasmile2@gmail.com. Let's make it happen together. Okay, hi everyone, it's Dr. Ambrose here, and we have Yatisha Babulal, who is our go-to person for everything finance related, giving us a little bit of advice on how to have a more healthy financial existence. So, our tips for today that we're wanting from you, Yatisha, is what do we do with investments now? Where's the start? Where's the finish? And where's the middle?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to, I suppose, the series of podcasts that we will have around finances, but lovely broad topic that you asked me on investments. Okay, so when it comes to investments, I think it's important for you to also be a little bit financially savvy when it comes to advice given from advisors in the industry. So I think when it comes to investments, there's a few things that you need to be wary of. Right? So usually you will have a savings goal. For example, I want to invest or save my money up for a holiday in December next year. So now that determines your time horizon. So our time horizon then is just about a year. So that you need to take into account now as to where that money is. So you can't then obviously go into a typical 5-year investment because the risks are obviously very different compared to your 1-year time horizon that you want. So that's important in terms of what is your time horizon for investing to determine where you'd actually be invested. So that's the first thing to consider. And then there are also 2 golden rules in terms of investing. So one of the big things, and this can also just tie a little bit into retirement, which we can always chat about at a different stage, is to start as early as possible for savings and investments, and start with as much as possible savings and investment. And I think, like Warren Buffett said, is save first and then spend what's left, and not the other way around. Because you need to make sure you're protecting your assets and your cash and Okay, so that was it. So time horizon, and then save as much as possible and start as early as. Then it's also important to know what are the tax implications of my investments, because that's a big thing. It's something we cannot avoid, and it's something we also need to be very wary of when it comes to investment. Right, so investments in different asset classes will obviously reap different sort of rewards, and one of them is interest. So interest, you are allowed currently 23,800 Rand. That is sort of a rebate when it comes to interest that you're allowed in the year. So and that's if you're under the age of 65. So in the scenario, 40 years old, in the year I earned 23,800 from my investments in interest. That's fine. There's no tax payable on that. Should your interest then be sort of 30,000 for that tax year, you are taxed on that difference at your marginal tax rate. So that's important. So if you are in a higher tax bracket, that's going to affect you when it comes to the interest over and above the rebate amount that you allow. And then if you're over the age of 65, that yearly rebate is 34,500. Right? So that's also something to be wary of when it comes to taxes. And then also when we look at investments, something that also might be important is maybe beneficiaries, because you also need to think about what happens to this investment should I pass away, right? So the thing is, if in certain instances it's going to form part of the estate and then the rest of it follows. Is it dutiable, etc.? So that's also something we can touch on in another session on estate planning. So beneficiary is something you might want to look at. If you do want a beneficiary on your investment, look at those sort of vehicles accordingly. And I think one other thing that I want to touch on is just to bear in mind, still related to taxes, is the capital gains tax on investment, right? So this is also something that you should be wary of and not be surprised that, at the end of my 5 years that I had been invested, there's no taxes to pay, right? So capital gains tax is realistic, and that's actually the growth on your investment, right? So there are inclusion rates that we talk about now. So if let's use an example. If your growth on your investment happens to be, say, 100,000, right? The inclusion rate is 40%. So that means on that growth, we are paying tax on just 40% of the 100,000 growth. And luckily, that tax, capital gains tax, is 18%, right? So it's not at your marginal tax, it's fixed rate for individuals at 18%. So that's also something important to bear in mind when it does come to investments. So the taxes, like I said, you want to look for tax efficient vehicles to invest in, and that's also how you can not miss out on the opportunity to invest in tax-free investment. So remember, this is something that's that hasn't been around forever. It's been, recently around in the last 5 years or so that the tax-free investments were introduced, and that is a huge bonus for us when it comes to investments. So you are allowed 36,000 Rand per tax year to invest into tax-free investments, and currently 500,000 in your lifetime to invest in tax-free investments. So this is great because any growth on it is exempt from the capital gains taxes. Any interest earned there is also exempt from taxes. So it's an excellent vehicle to utilize for investments. And I just also want to highlight something important here is that, some people will think, I've invested, but here's my tax-free that's sitting at 20,000. Let me withdraw 10,000 from there, right? Because I might need that money. That does not then allow you an additional 10,000 to invest. So just remember that you will still have that, still 36,000 Rand limit for the year. It doesn't increase because you've done a withdrawal on your investment. Also just be wary of that. It's also meant to be a long-term investment because at least you benefit from long-term growth and rewards in that investment. Doc, do you have any questions about it?
Yeah, listen, I think that has summed it up in a microcosm because, if you start somewhere and if you have a goal in sight, I love the way you just really categorize it into what are you really aiming for? Are you aiming for retiring or are you aiming for a holiday? So is it a short term or is it a medium term goal or is it a long term goal? Because I think you have to base that not only on the goal, on the amount of time that you're doing and the amount that you're putting in, but it also has a tax repercussion. And, that's why we need to look towards people like yourself that, and PPS, because what they've done is they were able to give us a little bit of a background of knowing now how it is that we can aim towards financial health. So thanks very much. That I think is a great start. And we're looking forward to the rest of our series with you so that we can start getting all of these things that we avoid in life done.
Absolutely. Happy to hold your hand through it all. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, and we're very grateful for it.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
I'm like, thank you. Have you ever wished you could be rubbing shoulders with the best just to get through your worst? Never get the promotion and exceed the requirements. Join us to hear about strategies to build your brand, diversify your business, pursue your career passions with job crafting, and self-care for healthcare practitioners. Hear about great products that can help you to get to where you always wanted to be. So remember, you are heard and you are seen, and on this platform, you are absolutely invited. Let's make it happen together.